Hello and welcome to this edition of News Today. Without delay, let's have a look at the headlines first. CareEdge released its inaugural report on sovereign ratings covering 39 global economies. A balanced approach towards workers' and manufacturers' interests needed amid strikes, says GDRI. Benchmarking Infrastructure Development Report released by World Bank Group. ISRO announces target date for launch of Venus Orbiter mission. Bhabha Atomic Research Center participated in International Atomic Energy Agency Scientific Forum Atoms for Food. Draft National Sports Policy 2024 released by Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. In a prominent development, CareEdge, a prominent Indian credit rating agency, has made history by releasing its inaugural report on sovereign ratings covering 39 global economies. With this, CareEdge has become the first Indian credit rating agency to enter the global scale rating space, including sovereign ratings. As per the report, CareEdge assigned an AAA rating to 4 nations: Germany, the Netherlands, Singapore, and Sweden, recognizing their robust financial health. India, on the other hand, was rated BBB+, with the report citing the country's resilient post-pandemic recovery and strong focus on infrastructure investments. Additionally, India's general government debt to GDP ratio, which currently stands at 80%, is projected to decline to 78% by financial year 2030. So what is Sovereign Credit Rating or SCR? Sovereign credit ratings are forward-looking opinions on a nation's ability to meet its debt obligations. They assess both the capacity and willingness of a country to repay debt. These ratings facilitate a country's ability to borrow from global capital markets at lower costs, boost investor confidence, and attract foreign investment. India's credit ratings are regulated by SEBI, with agencies like CRISIL, ICRA, and CareEdge playing a key role in domestic credit ratings. On the global stage, SCRs have traditionally been dominated by US-based agencies such as S&P, Moody's, and Fitch. However, many emerging economies, including India, have raised concerns over the methodologies used by these US-based rating agencies. Criticisms include a lack of transparency, failure to capture an economy's fundamentals, and biases against emerging economies. Despite being the 5th largest economy in the world with no history of default, India continues to receive low ratings from global credit agencies.
In a recent development, the Global Trade Research Initiative has released a flagship report calling for a balanced approach to address both workers' rights and manufacturers' interests amidst the ongoing strikes by Samsung workers in Tamil Nadu. The report warns that these strikes may repeat the history of Nokia's collapse a decade ago, which left a significant mark on India's mobile manufacturing landscape. To give you some context, the closure of Nokia's plant in the year 2013, which was once one of India's most successful mobile phone manufacturing units, was triggered by a combination of tax disputes with the Tamil Nadu government and increased union pressures. This led to the eventual shutdown of Nokia's operations. So what are the reasons behind these strikes? Samsung workers are demanding several key changes, including the instant approval of a proposal to form a union, a hike in wages, and a cap on working hours to 8 hours a day. The impact of such strikes goes beyond just one company. They could potentially hamper the ambitions of India in electronics manufacturing and lead to shifting of the manufacturing dominance to China. For example, Nokia's closure in 2013 shifted mobile manufacturing dominance to China. Moreover, the instability due to strikes leads to losses for companies, supply chain disruptions, and discourages investment by investors and MNCs. And it's not just the companies that feel the heat. The labor force is also affected, facing wage losses during the strike period and increased job insecurities. Additionally, these strikes put the Indian government in a difficult position, especially since India is currently reviewing its free trade agreements with countries like South Korea and ASEAN nations. Any further escalation of the strikes could negatively impact these negotiations. So what measures are being suggested to resolve these issues? First, there's a strong call for the formulation of clear laws and standard operating procedures or SOPs to ensure that both workers' rights and manufacturers' interests are protected. The state government is also encouraged to play a pivotal role by facilitating industry-wide discussions on key issues like wage benchmarking, safety, and welfare measures, ensuring all stakeholders are involved. On the other hand, the industry, particularly Samsung, is urged to address the legitimate concerns of workers by setting up a formal worker representation committee. Lastly, to avoid such disruptions in the future, there's a pressing need for a fast-track dispute resolution mechanism. A proactive approach to resolving labor disputes could help prevent them from escalating into full-blown strikes, protecting both workers and industries from further harm. In an important development, the World Bank Group has released its latest report titled Benchmarking Infrastructure Development. This report offers a comprehensive analysis of the public-private partnership regulatory landscapes across 140 economies, establishing a significant correlation between regulatory reforms related to public-private partnerships and investments in public-private partnership infrastructure. So what exactly is a public-private partnership? It's essentially an approach where public services are delivered by the private sector, both non-profit and for-profit organizations, while the responsibility for providing resources rests with the government. Now, moving on to the key highlights of the report. Under Public Fiscal Management System, only 19 economies have implemented specific provisions for budgeting reporting. Even more concerning is that only 18 economies publicly disclose their PPP liabilities. A robust PFMS is essential because it helps mitigate potential financial sustainability challenges that might rise from distressed or cancelled PPP projects. Next, when it comes to monitoring and evaluation, only 37% of the economies surveyed have mandated that payments be linked to performance. In terms of renegotiation of public-private partnership contracts, while nearly 90% of the surveyed economies expressly regulate renegotiations, only 19% have explicitly addressed changes in risk allocation, which remains a critical issue in PPP projects. Focusing now on India, there are several challenges that India is facing in implementation of public-private partnerships. These include financial challenges such as aggressive bidding, inadequate creative destruction, project underpricing, and frequent project delays leading to cost overruns. Additionally, there are capacity and procedural challenges, including inadequate management capacity in the public sector and delays in obtaining crucial clearances like environmental impact assessments. Moreover, regulatory and institutional gaps persist, such as the absence of a comprehensive national public-private partnership policy and insufficient availability and reliability of information regarding private sector service providers. However, India does have an existing regulatory framework in place to support public-private partnerships. The Private Investment Unit under the Department of Economic Affairs, Union Ministry of Finance, is responsible for policy-level matters concerning PPPs. Moreover, the Public-Private Partnership vertical under Niti Aayog provides policy-level recommendations aimed at standardization of public-private partnership documents. It also steers efforts to recycle and monetize core infrastructure assets, which is key to unleashing that's termed as creative destruction. Now, let's not forget the Kelkar Committee 2015 recommendations on PPPs, which continue to play a significant role. The committee called for establishment of independent sectoral regulators to ensure harmonized performance in sectors engaging in public-private partnerships. It also recommended discouraging unsolicited proposals through a Swiss challenge process to address information asymmetry and transparency issues. Lastly, the committee suggested forming a national facilitation committee to ensure timely resolution of issues, particularly obtaining timely clearances.
In a landmark announcement, the Indian Space Research Organisation, or ISRO, has revealed the target launch date for India's first ever Venus orbiter mission, set for March 2028. This mission comes on the heels of the Union Cabinet's recent approval, marking a significant milestone for India's space exploration ambitions. The Venus Orbiter Mission, or VOM, will utilize the Launch Vehicle Mark III, known as LVM-3, and is expected to take approximately 112 days to reach the second planet from the Sun. The VOM aims to deepen our understanding of Venus by examining its atmosphere. The mission's objectives are ambitious. VOM will investigate the dust in the Venusian atmosphere, analyze airglow, and map the planet's surface topography. Additionally, it will study the solar X-ray spectrum and investigate subsurface characteristics, providing invaluable data on this mysterious planet. VOM will also demonstrate technologies, for example, testing aerobraking and thermal management techniques in harsh Venusian environment. Among the 19 payloads recommended for the mission, 16 are Indian, 2 are collaborative efforts, and 1 is from an international partner. The key scientific instruments include Venus thermal camera to understand atmospheric dynamics and cloud patterns, narrow band oxygen airglow detection in Venusian atmosphere or NAVA, designed to measure airglow emissions, Venus advanced radar for topside ionosphere and subsurface sounding or VARTISS, to study the ionosphere, active volcanic hotspots, and detect buried geological features, Venus Orbit Dust Experiment or VODEX, focusing on interplanetary dust particles at Venus. Additional payloads such as Venus Ionospheric and Solar Wind Particle Analyzer, Radio Anatomy of Venus Ionosphere, and VIRAL or Venus Infrared Atmospheric Gases Linker developed by Russia, etc., will further enhance the mission's scientific capabilities. Historically, Venus has been the subject of numerous missions, including NASA's Pioneer Venus in 1978 and the Soviet Union's Vega missions in 1985, which expanded our understanding of the planet's atmosphere. More recently, missions like ESA's Venus Express and Japan's Akatsuki have provided insights into atmospheric dynamics and climate evolution. Looking ahead, NASA plans to launch its Da Vinci and Veritas missions in 2029 and 2031 respectively, while ESA is set to launch Envision in 2031.
In an important global event, the Bhabha Atomic Research Center recently participated in the International Atomic Energy Agency Scientific Forum titled Atoms for Food, which seeks to harness nuclear technologies for food security. Now, let's delve into what this initiative is all about and how it could play a crucial role in tackling food challenges worldwide. The Atoms for Food initiative was jointly launched by the IAEA and the Food and Agriculture Organization at the 2023 World Food Forum in Rome, Italy. The primary aim of this initiative is to provide countries with tailored solutions by harnessing the advantages of nuclear techniques along with other advanced technologies to enhance agricultural and livestock productivity, reduce food losses, etc. This innovative approach is designed to boost agricultural and livestock productivity and reduce food losses, ensuring improved food security for nations around the world. This initiative holds particular significance considering the alarming projections by the FAO that nearly 600 million people could be chronically undernourished by the year 2030. Moreover, by the year 2050, the world's population will have increased by 1/3, mostly in developing countries. So how exactly do nuclear technologies contribute to agriculture? Well, there are several advanced techniques making a difference. For example, the irradiation technique is used to extend the shelf life of food products by reducing or eliminating microorganisms and insects. Another example is the fallout radionuclide technique, which helps analyze soil erosion patterns by measuring soil radionuclide concentrations. There is also the cosmic ray neutron sensor technology, which measures soil moisture over large areas by detecting cosmic ray neutrons reflected from soil, and the radioimmunoassay used to detect hormone levels in animals, enabling more precise timing for artificial insemination. Not to forget the sterile insect technique. It controls pests by releasing sterilized insects that mate with wild populations. Additionally, nuclear technologies like nitrogen-15 help measure nitrogen fixation in plant roots, while isotropic tracing techniques aid in better crop nutrition and water management. Now, let's take a look at how India is leveraging these nuclear technologies to enhance food security. Under the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana, India has made provisions for multi-product food irradiation units. Furthermore, BARC has played a pioneering role in developing 42 high-yielding seed varieties through gamma irradiation, which has significantly improved crop yields in the country. In terms of infrastructure, BARC has established 2 major irradiation facilities in Vashi and Nashik, Maharashtra. contributing to the preservation of agricultural produce and reducing post-harvest losses.
In a prominent move for the future of sports in India, the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports has released the Draft National Sports Policy 2024. This comprehensive policy aims to harness the power of sports for the nation's holistic development. The new policy builds upon earlier initiatives, including the National Sports Policy 2001, the Khelo India scheme, and the Target Olympic Podium scheme. Let's talk about its key features. It addresses the need for a modern framework, as the existing policy was formulated over 2 decades ago. The NSP 2024 is crucial for creating a roadmap that meets present and future challenges in the sports sector. The vision of NSP 2024 is clear: sports for nation building. This aligns with the broader principles of Viksit Bharat, focusing on the holistic development of the country through sports. The policy is anchored in 5 key pillars: excellence on the global stage, enhancing infrastructure and identifying talent to elevate India's standing in international sports. Second is sports for economic development, utilizing sports to boost various industries, including tourism and manufacturing. Third, sports for social development, promoting indigenous games and fostering inclusivity, health, and education through sports initiatives. And fourth, sports, a people's movement, engaging communities by establishing a national fitness ranking and revamping the physical education framework. Lastly, harmonization with NEP 2020, integrating sports with the national education policy to create a more comprehensive approach to youth development. As one of the youngest nations in the world, with a fifth of the global youth population, that is between the age group of 15 to 29, India possesses immense potential to leverage sports as a catalyst for national development.
The personality news for today is Rani Durgavati. The queen of the Gond kingdom of Gadha-Katanga, Rani Durgavati was remembered on her 500th birth anniversary on October 5. Rani Durgavati was born in Kalanjar in Banda district, UP. She was a descendant of Chandel dynasty of Mahoba and a contemporary to Mughal Emperor Akbar. If we talk about her key contributions, she took the reins of the Gond kingdom in her hands after the death of her husband. She also repulsed the attack of Baz Bahadur, the ruler of Malwa, mentioned in Tarikh-e-Farishta from the Persian source. Moreover, she was a patron of learning and allowed Acharya Bittalnath to establish a seat of Pushti Marg cult at Gadha. Interestingly, she constructed reservoirs such as the Rani Tal, Cheri Tal and Adhar Tal. She also defended her kingdom to death against contemporary Mughal Subedar Abdul Majid Khan. Her encounter with Mughal was documented by Abul Fazl, Akbar's chronicler and other Persian writers. Through her actions, she portrayed the values of courage of conviction, fortitude and more.
As we wrap up today's main bulletin, let's have a look at some quick updates. DRDO successfully conducted flight tests of the 4th generation technically advanced miniaturized very short-range air defense system at Pokhran Range, Rajasthan. The trials showcased repeatability of hit-to-kill capability of the weapon system. It is an indigenously developed man-portable air defense system. Telangana is planning to develop more dry port facilities to boost exports. Dry ports, also known as inland port, is an inland terminal that is meant to provide connectivity to a seaport by rail or road. It includes inland container depots, container freight stations, and air freight stations. A coalition of civil society organizations has raised concerns over promotion of biodiversity credits. It is an economic instrument that allows private companies to finance activities such as forest conservation or restoration. Its purpose is to have a net positive impact on nature and biodiversity. According to a recent study, black carbon emissions from kerosene lamps make up to 10% of total residential emissions in India. Black carbon is commonly known as soot, is a component of fine particulate air pollution. It is formed by incomplete combustion of wood and fossil fuels. As per a recent study, large-scale migration of butterflies of the Danai subfamily was observed in Tamil Nadu due to good rainfall. It includes butterflies such as blue tiger, dark blue tiger, double-branded crow and common crow, and thus called tigers and crows. According to research by University of Birmingham, about 610 bird species have been extinct over the past 130,000 years, coinciding with global spread of Homo sapiens. One of the key extinct birds includes dodo. Finally adapted to its isolated ecosystem, it was first encountered by Dutch sailors in the 16th century. Researchers have developed DNA molecules with invisibility cloak sequences that can selectively target diseased cells in motor neuron diseases. It is a group of neurodegenerative diseases in which motor nerves in the spine and brain lose function over time. Prime Minister launched the Unified Genomic Chip and Indigenous Sex-Sorted Technology. Indigenous sex-sorted technology will increase the availability of sex-sorted semen for farmers at a reduced cost for producing only female calves. Before we sign off, let's challenge your understanding in today's installment of Test Your Knowledge. Thank you for joining us. We hope you found today's episode engaging. For the solutions to the quiz and for the video version, visit the links in the description below.